Hi, my name is Francis Coleman. I will be giving a 5-minute presentation on the importance and the history of historical black colleges. Historical black colleges, gave higher learning, or basically higher learning institutions that was established before 1964. 1964, I believe that was the Civil Rights Act of 1964. With the mission of meeting, the educational needs of black students. Basically HBCUs have an important role in the black community, being the first schools that gave black students the opportunity to get a higher education when no other schools would. What I mean by no other schools, I mean predominantly white schools. They basically neglected African Americans to come and study and get a higher education at their school at the time. Even today, HBCUs, still playing a big role in their communities, giving African Americans, a step towards their career. After the Civil War, HBCUs were created to make they were created to meet the educational needs of black students, who were denied the right to, have a higher education with white students in a PWI, and they weren't allowed to attend the colleges that were PWIs. Some of these schools had very humble beginnings, such as, they started in the house. Most classes were in the house, in people's homes, church basements, old school houses even. I believe the Moral Act of 1890, provided land grants to basically build up these HBCUs, and letting black students have their own place to get an education, let them have their own campuses to get an education, these communities, basically not these communities, but black African American communities, HBCUs play a big role, and students who attend HBCUs, have an opportunity to learn and be surrounded by students that look like them, and probably have the same background as them, share the same involvement, which can feel more like home to them. As a Savannah State University student and being a black student myself, Savannah State does feel like home. I'm surrounded by people that look like me. They probably don't act like me, but they look like me. Having someone look like me, I feel like, shows me that it's other people like me trying to get an education. Not saying that I can't go to a PWI and, get the same education. It's just different. Having somebody, go up and down the sidewalk on Wednesdays, dressed up professional, instead of, I'm from Atlanta, so in Atlanta, it's different. I'm not going to say it's too different, but it's different. On my side of town, all you see is probably, street gangs and all that. You never see nobody walking up the street, professionally dressed, unless you go downtown. That's probably like a predominantly white, place to be. And in my neighborhood, you don't see that often, Basically, I feel like, being a black student, this can help me feel like I'm not an outsider in my own college experience. Make me feel really involved in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and why I'm doing it. This will give me motivation of why I'm doing it. Being the first person in my family to, graduate college, this is a very important thing to me. And I'm happy I'm doing it at a HBCU, I never had a PWI in mind. I've always wanted to go to a HBCU. If it wasn't Savannah State, it would have been Tuskegee. Plus also, HBCUs do provide education at a reasonable price. I'm not gonna say it's cheap, but you know, I feel like my personal income is very, you know, suitable for me, and I know it's suitable for a lot of kids.